Good morning, everybody. My name is Pete. This is my first time doing a video on YouTube, and my channel is called Stone Cold Paranormal because I am extremely into the paranormal. I've dealt with the paranormal my entire life, starting from when I was just a few weeks old to a couple months old. My dad said that we used to live in a haunted house, and he always wondered why my oldest sister and I, as babies, would never cry. Well, he got up one morning at about 2 or 3 in the morning, and he seen two ghostly nurses rocking my baby sister and I and feeding us. Seeing that they had changed our diapers and everything, and so I've had like a touch of paranormal in my life ever since I was a baby, uh, literally. But I've lived in a few other places that's been haunted. Piqua, Ohio. That's where I was born and raised for the first 6, 7 years of my life. Um, Troy, Ohio. We lived in a house on Cherry Street that was haunted. There was an upstairs attic that had a cubby hole, and it was locked with a lock and a chain. And my bedroom was that attic, and I'd swear at night I'd hear pounding on the door, and I'd hear voices throughout the night. Then I moved to Salina, Ohio, just before I turned to a teenager, and I had all kinds of paranormal activity going on there at night. I'd have my blankets torn off of me, my pillow pulled out from under my head. Uh, Sometimes I'd wake up and it felt like somebody was sitting on my chest, uh, hands on my legs, and my ankles, and, all kinds of weird shit. Pardon my language. Um, and then I lived in Indianapolis, Indiana, back in 2009, 2010 in a condominium that was extremely haunted. Um, First night there, my roommates and I were in separate bedrooms, and I fell asleep watching a movie on the laptop. Woke up, the movie was no longer playing. It wasn't even on the site that I was on. It was on a totally different site. Different movie was streaming. But that wasn't the real odd thing. The real odd thing was is there was some watery stuff coming down from the ceiling, down the walls. The door was locked, and there wasn't a lock on the door. And as I was trying to get out and pounding on the door, the closet door would it was the open, it opened up like this towards me. It had door handles on it, and the door would open up and close every time I would take a breath in and out. And the faster I'd breathe, the faster the door would open and shut. And after several minutes of me and my roommates on the other side trying to get the door open, it finally opened up. I ran out with the laptop in my hand, and as I did, the door slammed behind me. Well, that was just the first incident. And like I said, that was on our very first night there. Um, we experienced later on that night cabinets, drawers, cupboards, closet doors, that bedroom door, the bathroom door, the door downstairs leading to the garage, all opening and slamming at the same time. Refrigerator, freezer doors, the oven door, constant just opening and closing, slamming shut. Uh, and it went on for like 15, 20 minutes. And there was other things that had happened. I'd seen apparitions of my roommates at times when they'd be back in their room. They'd come out to the kitchen, and their apparition would come out to the kitchen, would grab something, and then like 30 seconds to 40 seconds later, after the apparitions would go into the kitchen and do whatever and then leave, disappear, my roommates for real would go out to the kitchen and do the same exact thing as that apparition would. It's their apparitions that did. Um, One day, I went to leave the condo to go somewhere. I forget where I was going. And as I reached the top step, I felt two hands push me, tried to push me down the steps. And then I felt like 2 to 4 hands on my chest pushing me back to where I didn't fall down the stairs. That was kind of weird and freaky at the same time. Scared the bejesus out of me. Will not lie. Uh, and then, went to Kroger's one night when Kroger's was open down there on Post Road on East Post. And as I re entered the condominium park that I lived in, an old black guy met up with me and started walking with me and talking with me. And next thing I know, out of nowhere, this old Indian chief popped up. And as he did, he never said a word. He just looked at the black guy and just shook his head no. And as he did, I swear, this black man's face totally changed. He changed from being, you know, a normal looking human being into the, he had the face of a demon. I mean, it was just the ugliest, most grotesque thing I'd ever seen in my life. The Indian chief ended up walking me the rest of the way to the condo because the demon had left. I get back in, I tell my roommates about everything, and like 10, 15 minutes later, I go to close the living room curtains at the condo, and there's the black guy. He's standing across the way, leaning up against the garage. And even though it was pitch black in that area because there was no light, the light had burnt out a couple days beforehand, I could still see him, his face, everything. And he was standing across there smoking a cigarette, staring up at our condo. And I called for my roommates, and they came out and they took a look. And my one roommate's like, yeah, he's like, that's the guy I've been telling you about that's been standing out there staring up here at night. And I was like, okay. I was like, that's the dude that confronted me when I came back from Kroger's. So, that was freaky. We left. We left from there. We couldn't deal with it no more. It was, we gave up. Come to find out that the condominium park used to be where an old cemetery was. And I don't know if they removed all the bodies or not. If not, apparently they built the condo park on top of an old cemetery. So that's how I found out why we were possibly having them hauntings. So that's a little bit of background on me.
When you're done, you might want to go.
Close the door. But that's my background and everything else. So here lately, I've been staying in this house that's like, it's not eerily haunted, but it is haunted. I've seen things, I've heard things, I've had things come up missing that I know I put in one place and they end up getting moved to another when I've been here by myself. So that's kind of eerie and unexplainable. The house next door is abandoned. It's been abandoned. I took video last night on my phone, and in the video, you could actually see what looks like a human form climbing out through a boarded up window. Like I said, it was towards the end of the video, and I was standing out here smoking a cigarette, looking over there, and I seen a white pale face staring out of the basement window of this abandoned house, just staring at me the whole entire time I was standing out here smoking. Earlier tonight, I was out here and I seen something crawling in the driveway, like it was playing. It looked like a cat, but when I turned my flashlight onto my phone, it just like disappeared into thin air. Then once I turned off the flashlight, it reappeared again and started playing in the driveway. I've seen white orbs. I've taken videos of these white orbs flying around in the kitchen area. That's where the most activity happens at. Last night there was a box of Rice Krispie treats that was knocked off the counter onto the floor. So, it was. I wish I would have been there, but my roommate's two daughters were there, and it scared the bejesus out of them. So, just thought I'd give y'all a little heads up on what my background is and dealing with the paranormal. Why I've started this Stone Cold Paranormal YouTube broadcast, and I will be posting more and more. I plan on staying up tonight. I'm going to go live here in about an hour or two when the activity really starts. Anywhere between 2 and 3 in the morning is when it really starts. You could hear footsteps on the kitchen floors at night. You could hear banging on the walls when you're in the bathroom. Whether you're using the bathroom or taking a shower, you can hear somebody like banging on the wall. So I'm going to go into the bathroom, sit in there with the lights off, and I'm going to try to catch that. You're not going to see nothing, but you're going to hear the banging in the bathroom. And hopefully I can capture that and capture the footsteps in the kitchen at night. And hopefully catch an apparition, because sometimes I see an old lady, sometimes I see a teenage girl walking around at night. I've heard my voice being called by a ghost and everything. So hopefully, we can capture some of this stuff on the phone and on this tonight live, so y'all don't think I'm BSing y'all. But for the time being, I'm going to sign out. If you watch my station, I appreciate it. Give me a like after you watch this video, and